More than 3,000 years ago, the civilized world collapsed in barely 2 generations. And to this day, no one knows for certain who brought it down. Great cities that had stood for centuries were burned to their foundations. Entire empires, feared in their own time, vanished from the map, never to return. Writing itself was lost. Trade went dark and centuries of shadow fell over the Mediterranean. At the center of that catastrophe, the few surviving records point to an enemy that came by water with no known homeland, no known king, tearing through everything in its path. The Egyptians, the only ones who left their name carved in stone, simply called them the Sea Peoples. To understand the terror they caused, you first have to understand the world they destroyed. By the end of the Bronze Age, around the 13th century BC, the Eastern Mediterranean was living through a golden age that wouldn't come around again for a very long time. This wasn't a world of isolated peoples, but a network of great powers all wired together. At its center stood the Hittite Empire, master of Anatolia. To the south, the Egypt of the pharaohs at the very peak of its power. Across the islands and coasts of the Aegean flourished the Mycenaean kingdoms, the same ones legend would later remember as the heroes of Troy. And tying it all together, wealthy trading cities like Ugarit on the coast of modern Syria, where caravans and ships from half the known world crossed paths. These kingdoms wrote each other letters, signed treaties, married their princes into each other's houses, and traded copper, tin, gold, and ivory across the entire sea. It was a delicate, thriving system held up by constant exchange. And like any system wired together too tightly, when it started to fail, it didn't lose one piece at a time. Everything fell at once. No one knows for certain what lit the fuse, and that precisely is one of the greatest mysteries in all of ancient history. Scholars have gathered suspicions, not certainties. A long drought that ruined the harvests and unleashed famine. Earthquakes that flattened entire cities. Wars that severed the trade routes everyone depended on. It was likely no single cause, but all of them together, chained one to the next, each pushing the others further. And in the middle of that collapse, when hunger and chaos drove whole populations off their own land, those uprooted people took to the sea and the roads, searching for somewhere to survive. They weren't an army, they were a human tide on the move, driven by desperation. That tide is what we call the Sea Peoples. And here's the first great mystery. No one knows exactly who they were or where they came from. They left behind no chronicles of their own, no monuments, not a single line written in their own hand. Everything we know about them reached us through the eyes of their victims, above all the Egyptians who carved their names into their temple walls. And those names echo today like the ghosts of lost peoples. The Peliset, the Sherdan, the Shekelesh, the Denayan, the Cheka, the Luka, the Weshesh.